welcome back to my anime channel. My name is Antoinette Eastman, and I'll be reviewing today just one of my old-time favorites. Not like the whole thing. You guys remember Naruto Shippuden. So, I started watching Boruto. And I don't remember what episode I was watching, and Sasuke was like investigating like remnants of the great ninja war, and they had like this princess thing, and that didn't make sense to me because I know I didn't watch like the completed version of Naruto Shippuden, so I was kind of lost in that. So I am going back to rewatch The Great War so I can understand like what happened. And I believe now, I think I started in episode, was it 300 something? Probably that's where the war started, and I'm telling you, it's a lot. So I'm gonna, where I stopped in the series is when they were given the backstory on Naruto's father and Kakashi and Obito's story. That's where I stopped. So before we begin, I'd like to promote my book, Madness of Silence, that's on Apple iBooks, and it's also available on Kindle. It's a short story of poems that I've written. And also, you can check out my mom's book. That's available on Amazon. It's called The Girl Named Molly, written by Dolores Smith. Alright, so you guys can like go ahead and check it out. Alright, so where I start off on that series is, let me see. Yes, so I start off on the episode where Naruto and B like were fighting the Raikage and the Hokage of the Lee. So the Raikage, I think was it of the sound? No, it was the hidden cloud. Yes, the Raikage is the hidden cloud. And his specialty is like super strength and lightning speed. And I believe he also has a lightning chakra, one of those. And the current Hokage for the Leaf Village was Lady Tsunade. So B and Naruto was trying to like convince them to let them on the battlefield. Which I kind of think like their battle, B's and Naruto's battle with the Hokage, was like kind of unnecessary to me because I just thought it was like unnecessary because like they could have just like let them go ahead, because I didn't think like it was that serious because they already knew the dire strengths like of what was happening on the battlefield. Like I think, what was that guy's name? I can't remember his name. He figured out like the way to solve like their problems because they were fighting the reanimation jutsu that Kabuto that Kabuto created, and also the white Setsu. And like in watching like the rerun, I'm like, I've been thinking like all those rogue ninjas that be attacking, having one in war with the Leaf are all Leaf ninjas. Like, what is wrong with these Leaf ninjas? First it was Orochimaru who held a grudge, and then Sasuke ended up holding a grudge. Then Madara held a grudge. Like, it kind of reminded me of Harry Potter and all those dark wizards instructors that always go bad. Like, it is always the rogue ninjas or the leads that does the most, the absolute most. I digress. So like after they finally like convinced them to go to war, like Naruto, like he created like shadow clones of himself because he was finally able to like, I wouldn't say suppress, but he was able to gain the fox's chakra, and that way he can like see the white Setsu for who they are, because apparently the white Setsu, I'm not gonna do this in chronological order, you guys. So the white Setsu like can like mimic like chakra and person. So the Byakugan users wouldn't be able to tell the difference, you know? And what was interesting to me is that like how the rogueness started from the Rogue Ninja series started from like Madara, the first Uchiha. So most of the Rogue ninjas from the Leaf are from the Uchiha clan, starting from Madara, and it works its way down to Sasuke. And I found it interesting how like everything just like really just connected. And I blame Danzo for like getting for killing Nagato. That was like, and for those who don't know who Nagato is, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name right. He's one of the three ninjas that Jiraiya Sensei trained. And I was like pretty pissed when I saw that backstory. Like, of all the persons, like, why didn't he just die? Like, and Danzo was the reason why the Uchiha wasn't called on to fight when the Nine Tails come about. And I'm like, what is wrong with that man? Like, and I can't believe, and he was right about the third Hokage. What a pushover. Like, why wouldn't you utilize the clan that you have to fight the battles? And that would have like created a lot less rift. Personally, I felt like Danzo could have died a long time ago, and that would have saved a whole lot of headache. Like, we wouldn't even have a great ninja war, because I think Danzo did too much. And I can't imagine a Leaf Ninja, not a Leaf Ninja, like the Fire Nation being ruled by Orochimaru, because I saw that episode where Danzo, when Danzo recommended Orochimaru as a Hokage, I'm like, damn, I cannot imagine what it'd be like to see that little snake as a Hokage. I was like, that would be so creepy. Like, I just can't picture it. Like, I know he, like, at that time, he was, like, in a lot of, like, experimental stages, and I'm like, I don't know. I think they be doing too much sometimes to those characters. Uh, so where was I? Yes, the Raikage and the Hokage Naruto's battle. So after they, like, fought the battle and Naruto, like, splits up. And like I told you guys before, I'm not gonna do it in any, like, chronological order. So I'm gonna put in bits of pieces from past, future, and present within the series together. Um, so I believe they did a review, and I believe there was like 5 battlefields. Yes, there was probably like 5 battlefields. I think they called them like the 5 company. There's the company that Gara was in, and he was with the Tsuchikage of the Stone. He was an old geezer who had bad back, and those are the 2 Kages, and with some of the Sand Ninja, and I believe they were fighting the reanimation of the 5 Kages. The Tsuchikage's previous sensei, who also used particle style, the previous Raikage of the cloud, who also had the same insane strength and lightning speed, who could also use lightning chakra. And who else? Oh, I think, what other nation was that? Was it the Mist? I think. The guy with the weird mustache. And then there was... So that's 3. Particles guy, the Raikage, the weird mustache guy. Oh, and Gaara's dad was Hokage. Like, I didn't know that his dad was Hokage. Yes, I did believe they mentioned that before. No, I think the only thing that they mentioned before in the tuning was that Gaara had a brother and sister, but I don't remember if they said that his father was Hokage or not. I don't remember. So the 5th person, who was the 5th person? Was there a 5th person? No, I think it was those 4. It was probably those 4. Yeah, I believe it was those 4. So Gaara's father had control of the sand, but his sand was gold sand. And I believe the weird mustache guy, did he control mist? I believe he used a giant clam, and he is very big on illusion. So that's 1 battlefield. And the other battlefield, I believe I said it was 5 battlefields, so let me count. So the second battlefield, um, let's see this. Like, I won't remember it in order, so I'm just gonna name it as how I remember it. I'm just gonna call it as how I see it, I guess. So the second battlefield had the Inoshika Cho, all grown up, and they were with some of the Cloud Ninjas, I believe. And I believe they had sealed. Who had they sealed away? Oh yes, it was Tsunada's lover. They had sealed away Tsunada's lover. And I believe they also fought Ringaku and Gingaku. I believe that as well. And they were trapped, but I didn't start that far. I didn't start that early, I should say, into the battle. I started, like, I watched in a little later. And then the third battlefield was like the Byakugan clan with Hinata and Neji and the bug guy. And I still can't believe Neji died. I haven't seen the part where he died, but I remember that he died. It's been years since I watched it. I believe I didn't finish watching the series. Where I stopped, where I first originally stopped before Boruto, like, was creating everything, was when the Tsukinomi, that's what it was. Yes, the Tsukinomi was activated. I believe Madara was able to activate it. But that's like way ahead, so I'll get to that soon. So where was I? Yes, Battleground 3 with the bug guy and Hinata and the Hyuga clans. And then you have the fourth battlefield. Who's on that? Dari was on that. But who was he with? Wasn't Dari with Kakashi? Yeah, Dari was with Kakashi. But he didn't reunite with them until, like, because I believe Dari was fighting on a separate field with one of the seven sword ninja. And I don't know what the fifth company was. I honestly don't. Probably just the medical ward with just Sakura. So, like, Naruto was going to, like, help them out because they were all, like, fighting with each other and trying to figure out ways not to kill each other because, as I told you before, the white Zetsu can not only transform but mimic chakra, so there's no way for them to tell who's enemy, who's friend or foe. And that was causing, like, a lot of distrust and, like, mental fatigue among the warriors. So one of the first company that was rejoining with Gaara, like they got split up, and Naruto found the two guys that were split split up from them, and he told them that all the rest were fake, and they were like, what? And like, it was nice that they had like that relief, and he was able to help them suppress the Raikage. It turns out like the way he got, because I believe the Raikage, like the dead Raikage, like had a scar in his chest, and he found out through Octopox that how he got it was he fell while attacking and like actually damaged himself. So Naruto was able to get him to re-injure himself. And then that's how they were able to steal him. And with Gaara and his father, in some ways I guess they made up. Gaara was able to tell him that he's no longer a Jinchuriki. So those who don't know like what a Jinchuriki is, and you're not familiar with Naruto Shippuden, Jinchuriki or like hosts for the tail beasts. And it turns out that there are like 9 tail beasts that originated from the 10 tail beasts and was like split up by the sage path. So you have, and the tail beasts are like, there are 9 tail beasts, yes. So the 9 tails, the 8 tails, the 7 tails, the 6 tails, and 4, and so forth, all the way down to the 1 tail, Shikaku. I believe he's the only name that I know. I believe later on we found out, like, during Naruto's battle with Tobi, we found out that his real name wasn't Tobi, it was Obito, and because he had claimed to be Madara, and we found out within this series that he was actually Kakashi's teammate. Was he also like a part of, was that like a Team 7? Yeah. I think members of Team 7s go rogue. I definitely think members of Team 7 go rogue. There's who is in Team 7 that went rogue? There's Obito. I think was he the first one? Then there's Orochimaru. And then there was, who else? Sasuke, yes. And let me give you guys the list of all the rogue ninjas from the Hidden League who are Uchiha, starting with Madara, and I believe Obito was the second, and then there was Sasuke's brother. What was his name? Itachi. He was very skilled. Very skilled. He even was able to get himself uncontrolled by the reanimation jutsu. But he's technically a hero because he was the one that undid the reanimation. So that was good. And I'll get into that later as well. And then you have Sasuke, who's also an Uchiha. So there's 4 rogue Uchihas from the Elite Village. The only non-rogue one was Orochimaru. All problematic people who all want to destroy the league. Like, I don't know. So, where was I? Yes, we were at the battle scene with Gaara. So Gaara was able to somewhat reconnect with his dad and let him know that Granny Chiyo was the one that saved him. So Gaara was the Chinchuriki for the Ten Tails. Not the Ten Tails, sorry. For the One Tail. The One Tail Shikaku. And I kinda like Shikaku. He kinda had like a DJ vibe. I don't know why I got that from him. Like, I think he had like a real vibe. I remember when he first fought Naruto in the tuning battle. I was like, I like this tail beast. Anyway, I digress. And he told, and how Gaara no longer became a Jinchuriki. He was captured by the Akatsuki, who were collecting not 10 tails, all the tail beasts. I believe they killed all the tail beasts except for one. I believe. I believe the was it the four tails? I think he was a Kage. I believed he had already died. Wasn't he like a sound Hokage? No, Orochimaru created the sound ninja, right? The Sound Nation. But I believe he died long before and he was reanimated. Yeah, he died. Yeah, the Akatsuki was he was the only one that wasn't killed by the Akatsuki. I think he was killed by Orochimaru and was reanimated. And his nation was transformed into the Sound Ninja, I believe. I don't know. It was somewhere along that. My memory is kind of hazy about that. But let me know if I'm wrong, guys. Alright. So, the Akatsuki, I found out, like, the Akatsuki was originally started by Nagato, which I told you guys was one of Jiraiya's past students. He trained, like, those three ninjas. What was their name again? It was two boy and a girl. The girl, she was like, I forgot what her name was. And her skill, like, she controlled like paper. She can turn her body into paper. And she can turn her paper into some sharp weapons, deadly sharp weapons. And she was able to use oil with her paper so it doesn't get wet, because that was one of her weaknesses in the beginning. And then there was it Minato? Nagato. No, Nagato was the one that had the Renegon. And Minato. Oh god, there are so many toes. No. Minato is the fourth Hokage. Nagato was the orange hair kid. So there was a red hair guy who was a part of the Uzumaki clan. It turns out that Naruto has like came from a rich bloodline of ninjas. although they didn't like explain what clan his father was from, but more of what his mother's clan. So his mother, like, they all have like red hair, and they have great, like, I believe they have a lot of secret ninjutsu that's like that each of them possess. And what I learned also is that the Renegade can only be awakened if you have like the combination of the, what do they call it, Senjutsu clan, who was like the first Hokage, and like the Uchiha clan. That's how you originally awaken the Renegade, I guess, how to get it. But I believe the Uzumaki clan possesses some sort of special like blood type thing that they can do. So the red hair, he had the Renegade, and according to what Obito said, Madara had implanted his eyes in that guy before when he was born. So that the kid could like use the rebirth, Renegade rebirth, so he could like so he could become alive again, which is just like so crazy. Like, Madara stayed alive for so long that really he was able to manipulate Obito. I believe like he said when he died, or when he was close to death, some, I don't remember exactly, but somehow Madara was able to find out about the where the ten tail was sealed. I believe the ten tail was sealed on his. They say he said the husk. There was a ten tail husk, and that the seal for the ten tail was on the moon. That's what he said. And I don't know. I think after the first Hokage died, I don't know if he stole his body, grave robbed his body, and then attach it to the ten tail inside a tree to keep himself alive. And like, that is nasty to me. Like, that is just so messy. Like, and he was just like sucking the life out of that tree, like with his ancient self. I'm like, at some point you need to just let life go, live life and let life go. He wants to live too long. Like, what is with people, some people, and eternal living? Like, there's nothing wrong with accepting that. You have to live and let love, just live life and die and move on in spirit. Like, I don't know why there's some people who are like so obsessed with immortality. That is crazy to me. And they are the most crazy people that have the weirdest ideas that they want to force it on everybody. Like, I am so glad that even the aspect like of immortality doesn't exist today, because there are more fucked up people here in the real world than there are in villainous characters in anime. Trust me. So I'm glad such things does not exist in the real world, because too many crazy people, and we don't need that. Y'all just need to die and move on. So, like, I digress so much. Anywho, so we're going back to the battle of. Which battle was that? Yes, the one with Gar and his dad. Is that where we're going back to? You know, I really should make a note of this. Yes, today I'm not going off any notes. Today I'm going off by memory. Okay, so I was explaining the Akatsuki. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish explaining the Akatsuki since I listed them in the Tail Beast before I go back to the Battle of Gaara and his dad. Of how him being extracted. So I saw like how that story unfolded where those three ninjas who were like under Jiraiya, how they formed the Akatsuki, and it was a noble profession, like what they did in helping other nation. But I believe Obito, he first declared him. That's when he started first declared himself as Madara, and I believe they showed more backstory on that, and I'm not gonna get into that just yet. So, but I guess I should, because in order to understand the Akatsuki's backstory, you really need to understand Obito's backstory. And I'm not gonna get into Obito's backstory just yet. I'm gonna finish off with the Akatsuki backstory. And I think there were 9 Akatsuki members, because I think it took, no, it's probably more than 9. Probably like, I don't remember exactly, but I'm gonna figure that out later. So, the Akatsuki back then, they were really helpful people. I think that they became an evil organization after Danzo interfered, because they were doing with peace, and he thought other nations having peace with other is bad thing for the lead village. Like I said, I thought Danzo was doing team too much, and he needed to die. He just needed to die. And I'm sorry it took Sasuke so long to kill that nigga. So I believe Obito approached them and told them his ideals of realism, like this world, that the world they're in is just full of hatred and stuff. And he told them about the dream world that him and Madara convinced him of. And Yahiko, yes, I believe Yahiko was the leader of the Akatsuki. And he rejected the ideal that Obito came up with, although Obito introduced himself with Madara at the time. And so he said he'll be waiting under, what do you call it, this tree, the waterfall thing, every day, which I don't believe that. He was watching them. He was definitely watching them. I didn't think he waited. Even though he said he would have waited. And I'm like, no one's going to do that. So how they became bad was, we all know Danzo interfered. So he convinced the leader of the Rain Village. I forgot what his name was. He was the one that also named the Sanin. He gave, who acknowledged the legendary Sanin, and I believe he gave them that name. No, it wasn't Donzo. I forgot what that man's name was. Yeah, so he convinced that man to destroy the Akatsuki, because he said, because they wanted to make peace, and was like, oh, the Renegade's too dangerous. Like, they need to just kill that guy and make the fight. And I'm like, there's some, and I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And so he ended up causing the rift between them. And they kidnapped the girl who was investigating one of the regions they were protecting, and he told them that he needed to, the red hair guy, that he needed to kill his friend, and then he'll let the both of them go. And obviously the guy Yahiko believes it, and he took when his friend picked up the shuriken, he just like ran into the shuriken and died. And then they decided to attack them, and that's how the Akatsuki came into be, like, about, like, he witnessed the death of his friend, the red haired guy with the what do you call it? Not the Byakugan, the Renegon, right? So for those of you who don't know, there are like 3 ninja type eyes. There's the Byakugan, which is like supposed to be derived from the Sharingan, and the Sharingan is supposed to be derived from the Renegon. Yeah, I guess some ways that can be confusing. So the Sharingan is visual paralysis, visual jutsu. It can help you see through manipulation. It can manipulate you into seeing stuff and doing stuff. And there is like different evolutions of the Sharingan. And that caused like a lot of internal feuds between the Uchihas with the different evolutions. Yeah. And I believe the Sharingan only activates through war? Or if they're like fighting or in some sort of danger, like through training. So during peaceful time, you're not gonna see a lot of Sharingan users. That's my understanding of like from like the clan. So, and I believe the sixth sage path, he had the Renegon. Alright. Alright, I hope that helps explain to those who don't like know anything about like the different type of eyes that they had in the show. So like after that battle, like where Yahuka died, that's how the fake Madara like was able to get the red hair guy onto his side, and they created a new Akatsuki who were just filled with criminals. at the time. And I thought Obito, the fake Madara, he killed off the first set of members because they were going to warn Naruto, not Naruto, of like the betrayal that was gonna happen, and he killed him off. And it's like, no, I need him to experience, because he wanted the red hair guy to experience pain, because that's the only way he could like get him on his side. Sorry, my sinus is acting up a little bit. So the new Akatsuki that's filled with the criminals, they were the ones that were like collecting tail beasts, and the tail beasts were like being put in the ghetto statue, the husk of the ten tail. I think Madara was the one that came up with the name ghetto statue. No, I don't think he came up with the name. I think he read about the name in some history, some secret scroll that he read. That's how he got the name. And I don't know if they showed that part or not. I don't remember, but I haven't gotten to that part as yet. So I'm not gonna get like too ahead of myself. So they were like, so the Akatsuki go like after Yahiko's or Nagato's death. One of the two. I'm gonna say the orange hair kid, like the leader, the former leader of the Akatsuki. Like after he died, that was their new goal, was to like retrieve like all the tail beasts to put into the ghetto statue to recreate the 10 tails. That's like the whole stage for the war, was to get all the tail beasts to create Project Tsukinomo. Whereas like the fake genjutsu, that they're going to use the moon, which where the seal holds for the 10 tail, to as a Sharingan eye, to put everyone into a whole genjutsu, into a world of dreams where it should be peaceful, where they can live out their days in the dreams. Which isn't healthy, I don't think. People need to have dreams, yes, but they need to be able to live life and just not dwell on dreams. So, one of the reasons the fake Madara was like convinced was because his friend died. As I said, I'm not going to do this in order, guys, so I'm going to do it as I see fit. So, it turned out the 3-man squad that Kakashi was in, Ren, one of his teammates, the Obito, who they thought they had died on a mission, and Ren, who died, Obito witnessed her dying after Madara like patched him up and stuff with the white setsu. He witnessed Kakashi killing her, but based on what I saw, it turns out that Ren could have been a spy for the Cloud, because they said retrieve the body from the enemy. So and that she was kind of like was part of like a test subject. So in the end, she was supposed to portray the Leaf Village, but Kakashi had to stop her, I believe. And I think, and he only saw like Kakashi like stabbing her, and he wants to live in a world where Ren is alive. So, and I believe Nagato wants to live in a world where his orange hair friend died. So, and I guess it's just like that. I guess that's what they were calling like the cycle of rebirth. Is to have their loved ones who died to like come alive in that dream world. But I don't know, like, if at the end, if they did show like why Madara wanted to have the Project Tsukinoma, like why he wanted to live in a dream world. I don't know if he would be under the spell or he would just sit and watch others be under the spell. And I think, I don't know, if I were to like imagine it, I think Madara wanted his friend back, the first Hokage, because I do believe they kind of like fell apart. So I believe probably in his dream world that they probably were together, because he seemed to have like deep love and respect, and the sourness of their relationship kind of affected him very bad. And I think that's probably what Madara's dream would have been, was to be close again to someone he liked. That's my perspective of it. Maybe I'm reaching on that, but that's my perspective of it. Alright, so I think you guys have an understanding if you didn't know about the Akatsuki or the Nine Tails. So now we can go back to Gaara and his dad reconnecting on the battlefield, and him telling him about no longer being a Jinchuriki, and him being the new Hokage of the village. Another thing that I don't get, why they have to change the names for the different. There's Raikage, there's Kazekage, Tsuchikage. I mean, it is just Kage. Like, they didn't have to go and change the names. Like, that's just doing too much. You have to remember, you are a Kage, and that's it. And that's what I'm just gonna say, Kage. I'm not, because the other things are just too much for me. So he was telling him, and his dad was kind of shocked, you know, like, you have friends, and I'm like, and then you see like the backstory that each nation was vying for power, so each nation had like a tailed beast. I guess it'd be kind of like the nations of today. Each nation wants power, so each nation makes nuclear bombs. So it's the same thing. So the Hokage, like, we're gonna go with Kage. Gaara the Kage, like, put the tail beast inside his son, and it turned out that his mom, it sounded like she had like a couple miscarriages, because they tried it with other babies. I'm like, that is so cruel, to put your wife through that for the sake of power. So crazy. These men and these obsession with power. Oh my. Alright, move on. So they were able to like get through that moment, and he was able to end up stealing his father. And the particle skull ninja, like, I think only part of him had gotten sealed. And he was the one, like his other half was the one that revived Madara. And when Madara, and everyone was shocked because Toby has been masking as Madara this whole time. That's how he started the war. And they all kind of felt duped knowing that. And he thought he was revived with the Rene Ragon rebirth, but it was actually revived by the reanimation jutsu. And he didn't seem too mad about it, but he was trying to figure out like what is going on. Because Kabuto was getting a little desperate because Naruto being on the battlefield kind of helps like narrow down a lot of the things. So from what I remember about the war, like there, I think the fifth battle was Konkoro. That was the fifth battlefield that I forgotten about. Was Konkoro and the puppets. Sasori was one of the Akatsuki that was one of the criminals from the second version of the Akatsuki. Oh, that word cannot roll off my tongue. Akatsuki, yes. Alright. So, and he was like a puppet master. He eventually ended up turning himself into a puppet and only like kept his soul. He said he wanted to be, and he still said he wasn't like a complete art. I don't know. Like seeing Sasori like that means like people who are not able to, other people who are not able like to just love themselves and accept themselves for who they are. And I kind of felt sorry for Sasori. Like he had to turn himself into a puppet and still not able to love himself, you know? I really felt bad for him. So on that battlefield, he was, Granny Chio was the one who gave Gaara back his life, because once you extract the tail beast from the Chinchuriki, they also die as well, because they're kind of like, their lives are like connected as one, you know? And he told his father all about Granny Chio like sacrificing his life, and they had their moment, and he was able to see them. And then Kakashi was able to help defeat some of the swordsmen. And well, I don't think I remember much about the other battles. But they did show like a backstory about how Kabuto like got involved with Orochimaru, and how in the end he and also ended up with identity crisis, and that's how he got involved like with Orochimaru. And eventually Orochimaru did become fed up with Danzo and left, and with the village, and left. And you know, Kabuto was just, I think Danzo, he was another reason why Kabuto like went over to Chimaru's side was because, again, he had to interfere for the sake of the lead village. Um, I don't like Danzo. I don't. And so we see Kabuto's backstory. He was an orphanage, and I believe he lost his memory because his village was attacked during the war. And the lady who was taking care of him in the orphanage, mother, she was being sent as a spy, and Danzo made it pretty much so hoping they had to kill each other. So Kabuto was originally a Leaf Village ninja, and then he went rogue as well. It's always the least ninja shinobis going rogue. They have serious issues. And in a lot of ways, Orochimaru was more like a father figure to Kabuto. He basically taught him everything he knew, you know? And being that Kabuto suffered from like identity crisis, like when Orochimaru died, he couldn't let it go. Because he didn't know who he was without Orochimaru. And he lost a parent. Someone who raised him. Orochimaru practically raised him. And that's a lot for like someone to do. So I can get how he like was so obsessive with gaining Orochimaru's power and wanting to start a war with the Leaf as well. But he didn't understand like the risk of because I believe the reanimation jutsu was like incomplete, and he, as a research and medical ninja, was able to complete it to the best of his abilities, but he didn't have like all the knowledge of it because it was considered an abandoned, not an abandoned jutsu, forbidden jutsu. It was considered a forbidden jutsu. Yeah. So he didn't know that like one of the risks is that once you release it, like the if the dead who understands the reanimation jutsu could like release can do something to like prevent from going back like away, like from disappearing, because that's what Madara did after he became reanimated. once the once Itachi released the jutsu, he was able to allow himself to be kept back. I was I don't know if they would have, or they're going to explain more about what the reanimation jutsu is, and I believe it was created by the second Hokage, who probably experienced grief, so that's probably why he did something like. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you how Itachi like broke free from the reanimation jutsu. He used a genjutsu that he a part of his power that he had stored in Naruto's body. So that's how he broke free from the genjutsu. And he helped Naruto defeated the reanimated Pain, because that's how the red hair kid, he like renamed himself as Pain. And on his way to find Kabuto, I believed he communicated with Pain, and Pain used the Renegon to locate Kabuto, and he was heading there, and that's when you see Sasuke awakening and with his eyes, and you see the two guys, and the crazy girl who's also an Uzumaki. Like you see like their storylines, and you see the fake Madara also entering onto the battlefield, but he came on to the battlefield with the Chinchuriki. I guess they reanimated the Chinchurikis that they killed, and they re-entered the beast from the ghetto statue back into the reanimated Chinchuriki, and the fake Madara, Obito, like came onto the battle, and he was heading towards Naruto and be in the there were like other, I think like the other companies were battling like their own reanimation, and it so happens that when Sasuke saw like Sasuke was heading to the war, because you can like tell something was like off, because he went to a couple villages and they were like completely empty out, and when he was heading towards where the birds were coming from, he saw Itachi, and he started following him, and you know he's still grieving his brother, and he tried to stop him to talk to him, but eventually he did get to talking to him when they both arrived at the where Kabuto was, and they joined forces and was able to fight against Kabuto, because Kabuto he kind of did like the same thing that Madara did. He like put like the Hashirama cells inside of him. He put Orochimaru cells inside of him and transformed when he like the sage mode, and he was able to trap Kabuto in a forbidden genjutsu. Not rolling off my tongue. Genjutsu. Yes, that's how you say it. He was able to trap Kabuto in a genjutsu and forced him to release the sign. And that's how all the reanimation got released off the field. So, which kind of narrowed it down to 2 battlefields, because when Madara appeared onto the field, because that's after the Sand Ninjas, where Gaara was, they couldn't fight Madara. Madara was on a whole nother level, and because he had the first Hokage body, white Zetsu body, like, which is kind of creepy. Like, he grew the bodies from the tree, that's so insane. I'm like, growing a body from a tree. And there was a backstory where they were scene where the white Setsu was grown from the tree and was like obsessed with learning what poop is from Obito when he first met Madara. And I saw how Black Setsu was created. So Black Setsu was like a part of Madara, which kind of reminds me of the curse mark of Orochimaru, where he put a part of himself onto the people that he cursed with that mark. So that's kind of what the Black Setsu is, like a version of who you are, I guess. And you see, like after, I believe, like one of Sasuke's follower, the guy who could like turn himself into water, I think his brother, now that I think about it, I don't know if they show that in one of the probably future episodes. They probably did that. You can see the relation between him and one of the ninjas, with the 7 ninja swordsmen, like the same style haircut. Like, that's like a some sort of clan relation going on there. You can see that. He went to one of the Orochimaru hideout and found like a secret scroll, which I think explained about the people of the moon, because I saw that mentioned in Boruto. And at least I think. And I remember Sasuke said after he said that he wanted to learn more and he was going to try and revive Orochimaru. And he did so by I guess he took a skin from something. It was kind of nasty. And pulled Orochimaru out of Oinko. I don't know if you guys remember Oinko. Oinko, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She was one of the proctors from the Chunin exam that could also do the snake jutsu. I believe she was also raised by Orochimaru, and I believe she parted ways with him afterwards. But she still had the curse mark on her, and he was able to revive himself through. Sasuke was able to revive him from the curse mark, and he did that after Itachi like said his goodbye. And I have to say, Itachi is like a badass, like a real badass. Like, apart from the Yellow Flash, yeah, he was a badass ninja, like for real, surreal. I would like to see that. Itachi versus the Yellow Flash. I would like to see that. That would be nice to see. Okay, digressing. So if I remember correctly from the future episode, Sasuke wanted more answers, so I believed he said he was going to ask some people. I believe there were past village elders or something that he was going to ask question about the war. Yeah. And now I'm going back to the Madara battle. So the Madara battle, the five Hokages had to come together to fight him, and in fighting them, they saw how imbued the first Hokage was because he was using the first Hokage force jutsu, and I believe you can't use, which kind of made no sense to his granddaughter and Lady's father because it's a Kekkei Genkai and you can't copy a Kekkei Genkai no matter what, no how advanced your Sharingan is. You can't copy a Kekkei Genkai. That's, I guess there's, I don't know why that's never explained, so I can't explain it to you. But I believe that there is just some secret, blood secret thing that it just can't be copied over, which is good. The Sharingan should never be able to copy everything. There should be a limit. So I kind of appreciated the writers having that in the story. Limits to stuff. In the other battle, like after the, so that would be like this, the battle between B and B, Naruto, and Madara. And then I believe Kakashi joined them. So I believe it will turn out, so from the 5 battlefields, I believe eventually it will turn into one big battlefield. But the 2 main battles that were happening were between the 5 Kages and and Naruto, Obito, and B and the Chinchuriki. And Kakashi joined, and he was able to figure out that it was Obito. That's when, because they have like a shared Sharingan, and things were happening during the battle that helped him to figure that out. Like, because when Obito disappeared into space, Kakashi was able to send stuff into like same space that Obito was in and having to be like actually attacked, so he kind of figured it out. And that's when you started seeing like some of the backstories between Obito and Kakashi. And I guess in some ways Obito was kind of like Naruto, you know. I believe they had the same ideals back then. Wanting to be a Hokage, had a crush on the girl in the group, you know? And what else? So I believe all the rest of the reanimation were disappearing off the field. So all those battles were being like concluded, and I haven't watched the rest of the episode yet, so I know that all the other companies that their battles are over with all the reanimation jutsu, so they're going to go into the field like to help Naruto. But I know that there's supposed to be like 100,000 Zetsu. So I don't know if the original white Zetsu is dead. I believe Sasuke may have killed him. But I believe the original white suit died. So there should be like still a couple thousands of white Zetsu that are still out there. So even though like all those companies are going to probably join Naruto, they're still going to have to fight those those white Zetsus, because I don't believe they killed all those white Zetsu, because it's supposed to be a shit ton, like 100,000. So where I left off the show was Madara injuring the five Kages and teleported himself over to where Naruto and Toby is, and he had to forcefully like awaken the Ten Tails. He used the Ringaku and Kinkaku jar that had the nine tails and the eight tail arm sealed like inside of it. So he said he doesn't need the whole beast, he just need a part of their power. And then he had an arm power from a leg a leg power from no, B said it was an arm power. For those of you who B is the Chinchuriki of the eight tail. And he also like, and Naruto was able like to learn all the names, because when Madara tried like to when one of the tail beasts at him, he told him his name. I think his name was Sun. They each had a name, and they were given their name by the sage of six path. So they all gave Naruto a part of his power. And it was like a tail beast plane Naruto ended up on. And Naruto was finally able to connect with the nine-tailed Kurama. Yeah, his name was being told by was it Sun? Sun told him Kurama's name, because the nine-tail doesn't talk to people like that. He Naruto kind of won him over. I don't I'm trying to remember for future episode, but I do believe in a future episode that's gonna come that I'm gonna rewatch, that somehow they brought back the fourth. I don't know who did it, and they were going to use the tail beast from the fourth. And I believe there was some sort of disagreement between the tail beast inside of Naruto and the tail beast inside of his father, and I don't know if they were trying to merge back those powers. So I don't remember that part. I don't think I watched that far ahead, but I do remember seeing something like that. So in the end part that I saw before I'm finished, you see the Lady Tsunade summoning her snail. Because she's one of the legendaries. Can't get it to roll off that tongue. Sanin, legendary Sanin. So each of the legendary Sanin had a beast that they summon, and in some ways, I guess they passed it on to their predecessor. So Sasuke was Orochimaru's predecessor, so he kind of passed on the snake, a little bit of the snake, to the Sasuke. Jiraiya was a frog, so he passed on his thing to Naruto. And Lady Tsunade trained Sakura, so she has like the snail summoning as well. So they have their predecessors. They all passed on their jutsu in some ways. And where was I going with this? No, I was just letting you know that information for future reference. And so she summoned her snail, and her snail can also do medical, like was going to stitch her up, and she wanted to heal the other Kages because they were like badly like gutted and stuff. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I do believe they all died in the end, but I don't know how it all worked out, like how it all happened. So So where I'm at right now is seeing the backstories right now. So Madara is now on the field with Toby, and they're both facing Itachi and not Itachi, sorry, Kakashi, and the Lee's master, that the bushy eyebrow. Yes, that's how Naruto call him, bushy eyebrow and bushier eyebrow. So I believe all the companies are gonna, since all of their enemies, almost all their enemies are gone, so they're gonna try to go over to that one battlefield now, and I believe that's where you're gonna see them battling the White Zetsu and Madara and Toby. If I can recall properly, I believe in the end, Toby and Obito and Kakashi made up. So there's a lot. So that concludes like how we've read so far. I believe in the next episode you'll see that they're showing the backstory, the death of the fourth the fourth Hokage. So the next time I'll hope you join me, and thank you for listening. Bye bye.